Okay, so this week's blog post is about womanism and spirituality because listen, if you are a person who has an awareness of womanist theory, then you know that a review, an assessment, and at times a critique of spiritual faith systems is very much a part of womanist theory, okay? And that's just the bottom line. It's not designed to shape your religious beliefs or to change what you believe. It's just simply here to make you think about why so many of us as women center men in all of our spaces in our conversations. Now, if you are a womanist purist, you'll know that at least in the 90s, right, there were a lot of conversations and essays written about whether or not there was a place for males, particularly black males, within womanist spaces. My opinion is if you have a space that's created by black women for black women, it's very dangerous and self-sabotaging to highlight anyone who is not a black woman in those spaces, right? But the conversations did take place. But the reason I wanted to talk about womanism and spirituality is because you have a lot of people on social media who connect with the idea that black women do not have representation within feminism, right? But then when you start to talk about faith systems, it's very jarring and offensive to some black women for them to understand that, okay, there are a lot of black women who don't necessarily view God as masculine, or maybe they're not Christian at all. Maybe they associate with African traditional belief systems because they like the concept of connecting to women deities. Maybe they're not religious at all, right? So they're atheists, or maybe they support root work like hoodoo and other faith systems. And a lot of black women get very, very triggered by that. And so womanist theory very much involves a review, an assessment, and at times a critique of spiritual faith systems and how they have been used to discriminate against black women based on gender and race. But then it also is designed to make us think about why we center men in all of our spaces. It doesn't mean that we hate men. Doesn't mean we don't like them. It doesn't mean that you can't have a man in your personal life that you love and you care about. But what it does mean is we have to think about why we essentially deify men. One of the biggest criticisms of certain divested spaces is, oh, well, you take black men off the pedestal to put non-black men on it. Whether that criticism is valid or not is up to you all to decide. But it's there. And I think it's going to be very important for those of us who are divested, and we also call ourselves womanist. We have to think about why conversations around men are so triggering. Whether there are people who want to have conversations about men to the point that they will call you certain names if you don't want those conversations. And then we got to look at the other side. Why are there people that come to these spaces and they are upset if you don't necessarily view God as male? Or they're upset if you want to talk about whatever group of men that you like, regardless of their skin color or whatever. Like, why are we in spaces where the black women claim to be divested and we're still allowing ourselves to be divided based on our differing opinions about men? Okay. And I would suggest that a lot of that is because, based on the spiritual faith systems that have been promoted in Western societies and then that were promoted by Black people in certain societies throughout the diaspora in Africa, it's because we've been taught to center men in all of our discussions. So a lot of times as Black women, we cannot have a conversation about anything without some reference to men. You can't talk about anything. You can't talk about how you like to present yourself in terms of your appearance. You can't talk about political conversations. You can't talk about motherhood. You can't talk about anything without somehow making sure that you say, well, me saying this doesn't mean that I hate this particular group of men. It's like, okay, sis, nobody said that you had to hate men to promote yourself. No one said that loving yourself and protecting your individual interest equated to hating men. You inserted that into the conversation. So, womanist theory uses spirituality in part to talk about the whys behind that. Why can we not connect as Black women unless we have the same opinions about any particular group of men? Why does it matter? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. And please check out my blog. Okay? I'll talk to you all very soon. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. All right? Bye.